Word on the street, I'm a suspect. Hanging with the killers in the projects. They don't want a barrel, keep quiet. Catch a nigga slipping from behind. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. Put a nigga out like an outbreak. Chopper start, so make the house shake. Nigga sweeter than a pound case. Eyes on your chin, better watch what your mouth say. Ain't with the footballs, got a nigga tripping. Fuck it, nigga keep sipping. AK, the beam on it. Clip sold on like a lean on it. My nigga like behind ball. Move 100 pounds for a nigga beat the charge. Jack down in the play, watch a fuck. If a nigga try to rob, fucking hit him with no. Word on the street, I'm a suspect. Hanging with the killers in the projects. They don't want a barrel, keep quiet. Catch a nigga slipping from behind. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. 100 bands on your head, get the job done. Throw it up, nigga, where you from? Whole hood hot, cause your nigga hitting licks. Ain't made a meal yet, but he still nigga rich. Stick on my, stick on my, stick on. How you want it, nigga? Full of the city. Looking for the cash, searching for the bag. Young nigga wildin', throwing up flag. Shooters on the roof with a scope. Money make gon' treat you like the Pope.
Hello? Y'all heard the siren? That means get my money. Hello. How is everybody doing? Please let me know if you can hear me. And if you are here from the video premiere of the Mack, because it was great. Let me know how y'all feel about my intro. You know, I always be trying to give y'all a moment, and I felt like the Mack deserved a pimping ass moment. But thank you guys so much for being here. Be sure to hit that like button as you enter. I'm going to read some of these comments before I bring my guest out. I am hella excited that he is here. This will be the first time I get to have somebody on who does the same thing I do. You know, it takes a special kind of person to discuss throwback content. I don't think y'all know how hard it is, but we're going to get into that. But before we do that, let me read some of these good old comments. Thank you to every single person who is here. Let's see, Faye James, I saw you there. Thank you so much. Leaving that bird in the comments for Lulu. Let's see. I had a long day with spending my time with my mom, my 11-year-old nephew at the dentist today. Oh, this is very detailed. With my mom finally getting her butt. Why? TG, why so much information? You had a long day and I'm happy that you're here. Thank you so much. I hope your mom feels better. Let's see. Not struggle in Black Media Man Cave. Link up. Let's go. Thank you so much, Nicole. I was really hoping that you would be here because if it wasn't for you and some of my other subs, mainly you because I saw it there first, it was like, hey, you should really check this man out. Like this is really good. And you left a link to, I don't remember what video it is, but I was like, oh, this is awesome. So if it wasn't for Nicole, there would not be any link up because I wouldn't even know. Thank you so much, Nicole. Let's see. Tony T, party over here all day long. We're about to cut up and have a good time. This is a reason to. Pimping ain't easy. Somebody got to do it though. Somebody. Hello, Lock Denture. Thank you so much. How beautiful. Glad I caught a live stream. Glad too. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Damien Kinney, sound 10. Thank you. That's good. We never have a problem with the sound. You know, it's rare that we have a tech. Let me stop for some unplug. Hello, Corey, the gangster intro. Thank you so much. I just felt like I needed to be a pimp. You know, it's only right for this movie. YouTube didn't call struggle a prostitute. No, they did not. They did not. Let's see, 10-4. I can hear you. Good. These are all awesome things. Hold on, Monique69 Ways in the building. You know I gotta say your name. Hey, girl. Tamika is here yet again. Thank you so much, Tamika, for coming over from the live also. Hey, struggle. Hey, everyone. Now, let's see. Hold on, one more. Let's see. Is this Choo? Who? Because I was going to say coochie. That is not what that says. Chooch. So eager for this review. I love this movie. Thank you. And if you did not catch the live recap earlier of me reviewing the movie Solo Dolo, please go and run that back. But now that we are all here good and acquainted, I am about to bring out my guest. Allow him, a few minutes just for us to discuss his platform, let you guys get to know him and what he does over there in the Black Media Man Cave. I love the name. Welcome to the chat. Hello.
Hey, how is everybody doing?
Oh, you're awesome. I'm awesome. Like, I just feel wonderful that you're gracing us with your presence. Like, this is live.
Hey. To me, it's no different than any other video.
Absolutely not, because I know that this isn't, just not so much going live or doing a video, but just collaborating with others. I know that that's not something that you do often, so I feel very honored that you are here, because I feel like somebody else could have got turned down and you could have said, I'm good, Tyra, I want to come on your little Raggedy Struggle Reviews TV. So the fact that you accepted the invitation is absolutely awesome.
Hey, it's not that I don't want to do it, it's just finding the time. You
Yeah.
understand that the time is the problem.
Absolutely. Like, I want to ask one question first. Like, are you in radio or advertisement or any? Your voice is kind of like disc jockey, like you be like a voice for radio. So I just wanted to ask, are you involved in that way at all?
None of the above, but let me
Really?
let me ruin the illusion. It's not really my real voice. I had to when I first started in YouTube, I started doing the videos with my own voice, and to say it sucked is an understatement.
What?
It was some trash, and I mean it's funny to say that about my own voice, but be honest, it was trash. So I would hear it back. I said, oh, that sucks, So I was like, I had to come up with what I call, people laugh when I say it, I had to come up with a show voice, and I was like, if I use a show voice where I enunciate a little better, it comes across better in the video. So that's how and then it, over time, it just kind of becomes your own voice. It is your voice now, So
Right?
as soon as that camera comes on, that's the show voice. That's the voice I have. So.
I absolutely get that, because like I said, with disc jockey, people in entertainment, they have something that they cut on and cut off. So it is absolutely okay, and not a ruining of the facade that is not your real everyday wake up in the morning voice. But I just had to point that out, because I was like, is he in radio?
No, I think it just improved. It just got better and better over time. The more I did it, the more, the smoother it got. So.
But what made you start your channel in the first place? Because I get a lot of people, especially, haters, as I like to call them, and they feel like certain people have a monopoly on throwback movies. Just like, stop copying this person, get your own niche, and niche and all these things like that. And I'm like, I, as well as so many others, are not, the first people to jump on the platform and do throwback movies. And every single person talks about a throwback in their own way. But it's a choice to take that route when you get on here, because it's very easy to hop on here and you get a lot more traction if you do the more contemporary movies that people are searching up. So it's a lot to get on here and say, you know what, we're going to talk about the 5 Heartbeats from 1990. Like, ain't nobody searching for that, but you do it because you love it. Why did you end up doing the throwback movies?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because I hate the fact that people feel like only one person can be in the space. Like, once one person does it and they're the first, people have this weird idea that nobody else can do it, and it goes completely against why I started the channel in the first place. Because my original idea, my original dream is for, not just me, but a group, a conglomerate of Black folk, doing reviews, whether that be for movies, whether that be for games, whether that be for anything, books, whatever. It'd be better. And the reason I started, originally it actually started in 2017. I had a gaming channel that sucked. I realized very fast that I like playing video games way more than I like talking about video games. So that lasted all of maybe 6 to 8 months. I burned out. I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm gonna play this game. I ain't talk about it no more. And then one day, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was like, hey, I wanted to look up some behind the scenes stuff about Boys in the Hood. And so I went online thinking I'm about to find a treasure trove of behind the scenes information. And I go and look online, I find nothing.
And
then I go to YouTube and I go search, Boys in the Hood behind the scenes, Boys in the Hood history. And I find nothing. Nobody's talking about it. I found no chance. I'm like, and the light bulb went off. I was like, I want a YouTube channel, but what can I talk about? And it hit me. I was like, there's a void, and this was in 2019. I said, there's a void that, like, I could try to fill. I think I can do this, So, in 2019, I got started. I did my very first video, which is still up. It's janky as hell.
We delete nothing.
It's janky as hell. It's still up. But my first movie I chose, I was like, I'm gonna do Boys in the Hood. That's what I consider an A+ movie. It was my very first A+ movie. So I say, let me do this thing that I didn't see nobody else at the time doing. So I started did that movie. Then I did Low Down Dirty Shame, and looking back on it and looking back at the the jankiness of it, I was like, I could do this a little bit better. I could do this a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I took a 2-year hiatus, and
Really?
yeah, I took a
Oh
2-year
man, I
hiatus from
wouldn't. I wouldn't have
all
came back.
yeah yeah all the rest of 2019, all of 2020, and I said, let me go back, learn how to edit,
Mhm.
learn audio, develop a show
Wow.
voice,
You
develop a
so
voice.
you was so
Yeah,
considerate of your peeps. I was like, we gonna learn on the fly in the moment.
yeah.
Y'all just gonna grow with me. I'm not walking. I couldn't walk away because I was scared that I wouldn't return because
Yeah.
that abstinence, you just kind of which I learned is really not the case because I've had my walk away moments and I'm always like, man, I want to talk about a movie. Man, I want to talk to myself. So I always come back. But at the time in the beginning, I didn't know how to do nothing. There's a plethora of janky videos. Shout out to everybody who was here when I was sitting on my bed. Good times. But it was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn as I go. I didn't know how to do nothing like at all.
And
So
I
the
learned.
growth the growth has been really, really immaculate.
Yeah, I learned as I went also. I was like, let me really, because I knew how to edit, but I knew the basics. I said, let me
I did not.
learn. I mean, I took a whole class. I went to a class.
Oh.
I looked online, a tutorial, learned how to edit, After Effects, Photoshop. I didn't know nothing about that. And
Hmm.
learned about audio, spent ridiculous amounts of money to upgrade my stuff. And
Really?
yeah, then I came back with Lean on Me. That's why the Lean on Me video kind of sounds so much better. It looks so much
Mhm.
better than the Low Down Dirty Shame and Boys in the Hood video, because I took that. I said, it's probably going to hurt my channel in the long run, but I'm gonna take this time off, learn
Yeah.
how to do it right, come back strong and consistent. And
Oh man,
yeah.
well, thank y'all for riding out with me. Even though I didn't know how to do anything, like, because there was never any equipment. Even now, the video you guys just saw, Struggle Reviews is still on her iPhone, editing, recording, everything from that one device. So,
But something I learned is it's less about the technicality of it and
Mhm.
way more about the content and the personality. If
Absolutely.
you got good personality, you got good content, they don't care that you're filming it with an iPhone 6 and and you're using a Yeti mic from 10 years ago. They don't care, if you
Man.
got good personality.
We like Soldier Boy Yeti. This ain't no Yeti. We get none of that. Let me go and take this super chat. Thank you so much, Dane, for the super chat. Tyra, hey. I'm here to get my pimp hand strong. Right? We need to get our Goldie on. The pimp hand was immaculate in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But how did you find me?
The algorithm, because of what I
The lies. What?
No, it's the truth. I mean, because of what I do, and because a lot of times I look up clips for my own personal research.
Yeah.
Eventually you start getting those reviews from other people, especially if they do the same movie you do. So one of your
Yeah.
reviews popped up on the main page, and I was like, who is this with the big hair doing the same thing that I'm doing? I look and I say, oh, this is good. It's like
And
it's like the alternate universe version of me doing
yeah, it
the
is.
same.
It is because when I went, I was like, man, I like absolutely love like the production quality of your content. It was really good. And then I ain't even go hold you. I went to your sub count. And I was like, oh, y'all playing in my man's face. Like, where y'all at? Like, I was
Whew.
really because a lot of
Yeah.
the channels that the subs recommend, I'm like, y'all, like, please, I don't gotta know everybody. All the same black people, we ain't gotta all just talk to each other. Like, I'm gonna go look at it, but leave me alone. But I went and I was like, oh, this is really, really good. Like, y'all, thank you. And I was like, oh, let me go on and roll up because I know he got like a plethora of like how do you feel about the lack of return with your effort, kind of getting into the hardest thing about YouTube? I don't know if that's a struggle for you, but I know me personally, the lack of return for what I feel like I'm putting out as far as quality, that's the hardest thing for me. What about you?
I understand it, but at the same time, I don't understand it. Like, on one hand, I understand that, like, what we do is definitely niche. It's
Yeah.
not, you're not gonna get a bunch of views like you said on the movie that came out 20 years ago, sometimes 30 years ago, and half of the people on YouTube who would sub to it weren't even born when the movie came out, so
Yes.
they're not really checking for it, and but at the same time, it's like I I wanted to grow my channel organically.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go viral for something. Like I do a video and it goes viral, it gets 1 million views in one day. But one thing I learned about when you go viral, most of those people don't return. You
Yeah.
don't have good retention.
Yeah.
So, the growth is slow. but I like to look at it. I look at it positively. I looked at it as if I'm building an audience, I'm building a brand. When people do discover me, there's the content's there's a brand there. I've already established what it is, what my channel is, what I do.
Yeah.
And I think that looks very like, the growth is slow, but it's like I look at it as if I'm banking, I'm banking goodwill towards new subscribers. And I'm getting way more. Like when I first started, when I had my 28 subs, I I was getting like 1 sub. Yeah, I was getting like 1 sub every 2 weeks.
That's
sub a month.
That's so crazy. I didn't really see any like major sub. The major subs that I did get was because I didn't start on like, oh, I'm gonna do throwbacks. That was only via the lovely subscriber. I don't even remember their name, who just came and it was like, yeah, can I pay you to talk about Do the Right Thing? I'm gonna cash up you. I was like, hell yeah. I don't know why you want to hear me talk about that, but sure. And then I was like, man, this is really fun. I'm liking the energy that I'm getting, with this review versus talking about a lot of the contemporary movies that I don't really like. But those are the things that get engagement. So I feel like I have to do double duty to kind of get the throwback stuff out, but still like have the contemporary reviews and stuff up, stuff that's hot right now or viral, just to make sure that those subs are coming in and I'm getting returned, because the man, it's molasses.
and and that's my whole brand, it's the throwback stuff. And but like I said from the beginning, I don't want to be the only person. Like I feel like there should be a group, like there should be, Black Media Man Cave was built on the idea that I wouldn't just do movie reviews. I would do reviews on, multitude of things. I do a bunch of things. I wouldn't just do. So I feel like Black YouTube, I would like to see it grow, because you can look up a movie, you can look up something like Back to the Future, or The Godfather. You'll get 76 different videos with 76 different creators of varying quality. But if you look up a Black movie, you might get one video and then one trailer, and then you might get somebody who'll show you one scene. And so I want that to grow.
This right here, Drop Squad. You can go find. I believe you have a video for Drop Squad.
Yeah, I did Drop Squad already. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna just drop in and find like, oh, like it's definitely a corner in the market to just really talk about those movies. But there's still people who just feel like only this one particular person can do that. Like, how do you feel about just kind of the lack of reciprocity in the space as just Black people in this space? Because I don't know if you had the same experience, but I hopped on thinking that it was like, oh, it was just going to be all love and everybody's going to work together. It's going to be kumbaya. We're going to build and, grow together. And it was just like, oh, I'm alone. Yeah. Y'all don't want to rock with me? Like, okay, that's fine. Like, you got to tell me twice. And it's just a thing about kind of gatekeeping your platform to yourself and not wanting to collaborate with other people.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of like distrust when it comes to like YouTubers first starting out. Like whenever, I always say, 2 different people start. Some people start because they want to be rich and successful. They think that's going to happen overnight. You're going to get on, you're going to go viral, and you're going to blow up. I got into it knowing right from the start that's not going to happen.
Ain't nobody tell me.
Yeah, I knew right from the start that's not going to happen. So I think a lot of people get into it thinking that they're going to, and they don't want to share that. They don't want to, they don't want to give some, let somebody else, because, you thinking unnecessary stuff. Somebody might come in, steal your thunder. Somebody, they don't have the confidence. Somebody might take your ideas, and,
it's non-existent here. Like I tell everybody, all of us, especially all of us who are Black in this space, we all sharing the same 10 subscribers. Like we all, we have, a little piece, because I'll see it like, oh, this is one of my subs. And I'm like, we're all sharing and, really getting into the same people. So I'm like, why not collaborate and build each other up? Especially because I see other people in other spaces. Y'all know what I mean by other people. They collaborate with, no problem. And it really
all
benefits them. Right. So I was hoping to maybe do that in this space. So this is my, my way of, trying to start doing that. Last question. What is your favorite video that you did and you were like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. Like, this is a really good video.
Funny enough, it's one of the ones I don't like from a technical perspective, but for whatever reason, when I look back on that last Dragon video, not only did the audience love it, but like I look back on, like, sometimes I don't know if you do this, but I look back at my old videos every now and
Yeah.
then, and sometimes it's almost like I didn't even make it.
Secondhand
And
embarrassment.
I find myself I find myself laughing like, oh, this shit, that
Really?
was funny. And I don't, and I wrote it, but I was like,
Yeah.
I don't remember it. Oh, damn, that was kind of funny, So The Last Dragon, when I look back at that, it's like, I was kind of on fire around this time. I was really, because I'm not a comedian. I sit down and I type all this stuff down, as it comes to me. Sometimes I might go back and edit, like, oh, I could say this here, but
Yeah.
I'm not a comedian. I don't know how to write jokes. I just write what first thing comes to my head.
You
And,
do though. That's the thing about this space. Like you
Yeah.
become a comedian, you become a writer. Like you couldn't tell me, like, you could be funny to yourself.
Yeah.
You can be funny to your friends, but it's another thing to be funny to other people. So to know, I was like, I'm fucking funny. Like I do go back to some of my stuff and I'll laugh and go like, this is really funny. Like this was really good. Like it's that. But I do have one more, because you say with your like with the cut on for the voice, do you feel like as a like a Black man in this space that you have to be extra when you make your videos? Because I know when I talk to a lot of my other friends, who I consider them friends, who kind of do the same thing we do, they're like, I want to do what they do. I just want to be normal. I just want to be plain. Like, why do many of the subs of whatever nationality they click on expecting us to be, we gotta
animated.
you gotta be animated. We have to overcompensate to be extra. Everybody can't be you, Tyra. I don't like being extra. I'm chill. Like I know personally I didn't get on here with the intention to be extra, but I did find that even though that is a big part of my personality, the when I am extra, that's when I get the most engagement.
I don't feel the pressure to be extra, but I always subconsciously I know I don't want to sound bored. Yeah. So it's like a balance. I don't want to sound like I'm bored out of my mind to do the video, but I'm also not going to be doing backflips and jumping off the chair and I'm not going to be doing all that, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a perfect balance for me. I want to sound like I'm enthusiastic to do what I'm talking about. Yeah. But I don't want to sound like I'm about to fall asleep. Just like I'm literally reading off the paper, like, this happened and then this happened. I don't want to sound like that, but I'm also not going to be, yelling at my audience and, trying to. I mean, I've seen way worse.
But no, I just get really excited because I couldn't do this. I was very self-conscious about getting on here, and then I was like, "Hey, you know what? Just act like you're talking to a friend, record it and post it." And then that's mentally what got me. So when I get on here and I'm doing, me, that's just me, hanging out with my friends and being my true self. But to you guys, it's like, "Oh my God, Tyra, you gotta what you need gunshots there for? What you gotta rap for? What you gotta sing for?" Like even that, I love the breakdowns that you give in your reviews, and you give detail. I get so much flack for people like, we don't want all of that, just review the damn movie. We don't need details. We don't need background fun facts and all these other, we don't give a damn who the director is. Like I love that.
But what's the fun? And that's my thing. Like, what's the fun in talking about a movie? You've most of the movies we talk about, unless somebody's a certain age, you've already seen it 20,000 times. Yeah. So what am I going to tell you that you haven't already seen? Of course, I'll give you my perspective on it, but how can I set myself apart? Yeah. By telling you what you've already seen if I don't give you something that you may not have known. So absolutely, definitely keep doing that.
See, I'm gonna read this super chat and then I'm gonna give you the screen to let people know where to find you. Let's see. Right. If y'all start attacking woke films, your channel will grow. Hell yeah, I'll take it there. I'm not against a plot. Okay. Let's see. There's a huge anti-Hollywood, anti-inclusion, everything's woke sector. Absolutely, Dane. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. I am not above going low. Thank you so much for that. But I'm going to give you the screen and let people see what your channel looks like, and you just tell people where to find you and a little bit of maybe what you have coming up on your channel.
All right, make sure you guys go and subscribe to the Black Media Man Cave, just as it looks right there on the screen. My tagline is where I talk about movies, with an all-black cast or at least a black lead. So that covers a wide variety of movies, many of which you've seen probably a million times. But I like to provide, extra info that you might not have known, like the director, any behind the scenes beef, a cool facts, like as you can see on the screen, I did CB4 followed by Fear of a Black Hat, because both of those movies basically released at the same time and they are eerily similar. So, if you didn't know that, I go into, I try to go into a lot of deep detail about every single movie so that you're not just sitting there listening to me repeat the same thing you're seeing on screen. I try to make it kind of a little bit of a mini documentary, and I also, as you can see, I do every February, which I'm probably running out of content for that, but every February, the last 2 Februarys, I've done Black's History Month, where every day of the month, in February, I do 28 movies, 28 Black exploitation movies. And, I just give a short synopsis, 5 to 6 minutes, and I talk about, how the movie came to be made, the actors in it, a little bit of small facts about, how did they feel about it, the budget, why this movie is important. And, a lot of people shun blaxploitation, but, it is very, very important to cinema history, Black cinema history. And I touch on all those things during Black History Month. So, if that sounds cool to you, just come over, check out Black Media Man Cave. I'll be happy to have you over there. And I see a couple of my followers already in the chat. So they can attest that, I put a lot of work, a lot of effort into my videos. So I hope you come over and enjoy it.
I love the little shot you threw, like, yeah, I ain't just sitting there reciting what's happening on screen. That stuff y'all love to engage in, them reactionary videos. Yeah, we don't do that over here.
Oh, reaction videos. You'll never see me do that.
Oh no, I absolutely cannot do a reaction video, but that just so happens to be where it's at. Getting into what you guys came here for, the after party live. Once again, Black Media Man Cave. The link to his channel is down there. Be sure to go and check him out. What is your favorite quote? The instant quote that comes to your mind when you even think about the Mack?
I want to be everything to you, baby. I want to be your father, your lover. But all you gotta do is listen to me. You gotta do what I say and know what I mean. That's my favorite line. Even when Martin did it, like Martin did it on one of his episodes.
Mother, your father, your lover, your puppy. Like, I'm gonna be everything to you, baby. But you gotta believe in me, baby. Like, that's. I think that's everybody's go-to and everybody's favorite episode. Like, I was really actually surprised that, I don't know, I haven't watched the Mack in a minute. It takes a lot for me to have to dust off the old Blu-ray or DVD collection, but it was kind of low-key hard to find this movie. Like, it's not really on any platforms to stream or anything. I was like, why y'all gatekeeping the Mack? Where is it? But my quote is definitely, Pretty Tony, he wanted the honey. I just wanted the money. Okay, we just need the money. we just absolutely need the money. But there are just so many quotable lines from this movie. Like, especially in my family, like I could just look at somebody and do like the little boy in the car, like, let them in, give me some money. But this is no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's rarely kids in these type of movies, but when they do decide to introduce a kid, it's always something funny like that. It's always something out left field. They keep kids far away from these movies.
Yeah. He's on screen for 2 seconds, but just to like, yeah, you can be anything you want to be. Like, you better go to school now. Get out of here. I ain't give you no money. Like, oh, you got some money? Oh, yeah. Like, oh, just Birdman hands. Just absolutely excited. But just getting into a character like Max Julien, like, I can't see anybody else in this role. I didn't know before going in, like you said, doing my homework, that he had so much involvement with this film, writing, the casting, that was all him. Even him writing and producing the likes of Cleopatra Jones. I didn't know that because he's just so synonymous with this role. I literally thought that this was the only thing that he ever did. But how do you feel about Max Julien in this role as Goldie? And could anybody else at that time have portrayed the role any better?
Absolutely not. And and Max Julien is like one of those underrated kind of blaxploitation stars. And you brought up Cleopatra Jones, which is also kind of, I think I said, I don't know how people felt about it, because the older people tend to take me to task when I say anything negative about the blaxploitation films. But I mentioned that I think I put Cleopatra Jones over Coffee, which they released.
Say what?
I put Cleopatra. Yeah.
Say what? What'd you say?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to fight? That's what you said. You try to fight?
That's usually the reaction.
I'm gonna save it because it's been a minute since I returned. Because I'm more prone. I'm a Pam Grier girl. especially getting to Foxy and that soundtrack we're gonna get into. Who created that? But I flocked to that. It's been a while since I even watched Cleopatra Jones, so I'm gonna revisit that once I give it another watch. But it just felt like you said step outside. But back to what you were saying.
Yeah, and I mean, and even when Matt Julien wrote it, they were even afraid that it would get overshadowed, so they actually pushed the release back a whole year, to avoid coffee. So they were, but yeah, Max Julien, there's nobody else who could have played that role. The voice and I brought up the fact that the voice is kind of like the blueprint for every pimp that you hear these days, like that soft silky, but I want to be your father, your daddy, that's the voice that every pimp turns on anytime you see a pimp on TV. So he popularized. I don't know anybody else who could have made that voice as famous as it is but Max Julien.
Not y'all laughing. Tyra used her cleavage to get me to click on her videos and did. Do all the time, okay? Y'all already know every single subscriber comes for something different. Some people come to listen, some people come to laugh, some people come for T and A. And I'm here to service that. I'm absolutely okay with that. You're welcome.
Well, I'm sorry to tell y'all, if y'all come to my channel, y'all ain't gonna see no TVs. Unless you know that right off top.
But he was just really great. He was an actor that I really wanted to see more from. And then just getting into it, I was like, dang, I never realized how many times he was called up on to portray the same character and, things like How to Be a Player, one-on-one, in videos. Like, he was just so synonymous with this that it just felt like it kind of cut off many of his other opportunities. Like, dang, I'm not just Goldie, I'm actually a really good actor. But that's just how great he was in this role, and I can't see anybody else in it. Just this is the blueprint for pimping.
Yeah, and he really is the true blueprint. People like to, for whatever reason, they like to attribute it to Superfly, to to Ron O'Neal and Superfly, and it's like if you actually watch Superfly, it's not really, it's not about pimping.
Yeah, he's a drug dealer, right?
Yeah, he's a drug dealer. So, but I think what happened is that, Superfly helped popularize the pimp's clothing. And I mean, guys in the street were already wearing those type of clothing, so he didn't invent that. But, I think, when he brought it to the screen, which is Gordon Parks Jr., Gordon Parks' son, Gordon Parks directed Shaft. So his son directed Superfly, and I think when they brought it to the screen, it helped further popularize the fashion, the hat, the suits, the car. But I think Goldie and the Mack helped popularize the pageantry of the pimp. Yeah. Having a whole harem, I call them a harem of harlots, and having a whole, having a whole bunch of, women. It made it, it made it more of a show. It made it more entertaining.
Yeah, a spectacle.
It was way more of a spectacle. The Players Ball and all that. Like, all that was popularized by the Mack, even though people like to look back on Superfly and say, oh, I started dressing like that because of Superfly. Well, they made the fashion a big deal, but the whole thing
as a whole,
the pageantry of
it
Goldie. Definitely attributed to the Mack.
I never thought about Superfly in that way. Best soundtrack. I ain't gonna say ever, but I'm as close to it. Like, I love the soundtrack to this movie. I feel like I revisit this soundtrack more than I actually revisit the movie The Mack. Just watching the movie, because it's been a minute since I've watched it. This soundtrack enhances this movie so much.
It's been sampled so many times. Like, it's been sampled. I Choose You, it's been sampled. 3 6 Mafia sampled 2 songs out of the original, out of the Mack theme song.
Let's see, I think I saw that here.
Yeah, so for that alone, it's an iconic soundtrack. Yeah.
A lot. Just even that, like, so many lines have been sampled from the movie. I didn't hear many of, hip hop intros. We open in with Goldie or Pretty Tony or, somebody referencing something. But I think it's just really understated how this Willie, like, I need Willie to get some praise. Because, you hear about, score and soundtracks and all of these creators, and most of the time they're Caucasian. Like, the music here is just freaking immaculate. Like, just certain stuff you look for as a kid. Like, I'm not listening for music watching the Mack as a kid. We had it on the VCR back in the day. But watching it now, I was like, oh my, look at those horns. It's strings in the background. Like, it was just really heavy, like, almost classical instrumentation with stuff, as well as being really funky. This soundtrack is like really goddamn good.
Willie Hutch is a musical genius to me. Like, I was introduced to him, later in life because he did, the Last Dragon theme song. He did 2 songs on the Last Dragon soundtrack, I believe. And even then I was like, man, this dude is like, he's
Really
like killing it, like through multiple generations. And I'm just like, so when I went back and realized that he did a lot of these 70s blaxploitation songs, I was like, man, this dude is like, a musical genius. But yeah, the soundtrack is amazing. I kind of, it's kind of a tie to me with Superfly, because Superfly has some good songs as well as Shaft. But
Curtis Mayfield,
yeah, and I think Curtis Mayfield, and also I think Isaac Hayes won a Grammy for Shaft. So, but yeah, Willie Hutch is fantastic musician.
Now y'all know when I met Willie Hutch. If you seen my Jackie Brown video, hey Foxy, hey.
Oh yeah, he did.
I was outside for Foxy Brown. Like I was like, oh, this is popping. I ain't know what was going on, but unlike a lot of the young people here, like I grew up watching blaxploitation movies. Like we had no cable for a minute. These were the things that were on the rerun on certain channels. So this is what I was watching, and then watching, you're like, oh my god, like I had, just know that I had good taste from the very beginning. Like
my mother inadvertently introduced me to blaxploitation in the 90s. Because she would have never let me watch these in the 80s. So but in the 90s they re-released a lot of these movies on VHS. So I guess she was a big fan, so she ordered a bunch of them, and she would go off to work, and I'm like, what's this about? Papa and Foxy Brown. I'm like, I guess I'm a man now. Like, like this is some hardcore stuff. So yeah, that's how I fell in love with blaxploitation, is sneakily watching those VHS tapes in the 90s. And I just went back and started doing like crazy research and finding whatever movie I could find over the years.
First of all, Mr. D Man, if you want to fight, just say that. He did the score in the soundtrack. Catch these hands. Don't make me put you out. I love when I have my trolleys in here. Don't start, D, and say, hey, chef. Love South Park. Yeah, my mama wasn't that mama. Like I was definitely like, hey, come watch my favorites. We finna watch Sparkle and the Mack. Like, all right, mommy, I'm coming. So this was very in heavy rotation in the house. And then eventually I found other stuff. You really watching, I don't know what I was watching from you, but it was one of your Black History Month situations, and you were like, yeah, I couldn't figure out what was going on in Ganja and Hess. I was like, I need to go rewatch that just so I can like figure it out.
I've been putting that movie off for 2 years, and like every time I try to watch it, I don't get it. And it was actually remade, and I call myself out, remade by Spike Lee. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch the Spike Lee version and see if it helps me understand the old version. No, absolutely not. Like it's just it's confusing with a bigger budget. It's the same exact movie. It's just as confusing. But I think I'm going to finally just like buckle down. I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to put it in my last Black History Month and try to figure it out and put it on there. And because at this point, I'm running out of films anyway, so I might as well go ahead.
Well, we kind of already covered this, but I just wanted to get into I don't think a lot of people know how big Goldie is. I was really surprised, or just the movie of the Mack. I always get surprised by my little demographic of subs, and I always assume like everybody was like me, being of whatever age and whatever year, because I'm a 1990s kid. You just happen to watch these movies. I did, but a lot of people haven't seen these. So even in the live, it was a couple of people like, oh, this came from there, and I didn't know. Oh, Martin got this from here. Like a lot of people don't know just how much of an effect that the movie The Mack and the character of Goldie had on the culture. Like this is a part of pop culture and the standard for any imagery that you saw after the 70s of what a pimp was supposed to be. Like, of course, I have, players ball. I hope all the unfortunate things in life happen to you and only you. Like all of that, even, music, we already got into the samples, the whole Pimp C, Jay-Z, the imagery in their videos. Of course, characters like Jerome, he's the pimp of the year. Get into I'm gonna get you sucked. Just really good things. Like it is just really, really massive. Like how do you feel about people just not knowing?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and even me, I'm guilty of that. When I first saw that Martin episode, I didn't know where that came from. I just thought it was, I just thought it was hilarious. I didn't know until I went back and watched. I said, oh, this actually comes from something. And like you said, it's pretty much the template. Like it hasn't changed. They haven't altered it. It hasn't been updated. It's pretty much the same template that Goldie started in the 70s. And I also made mention of the fact that, whenever a pimp appears on screen, in any movie, TV show, I don't care what it is, they always play the same song.
Yeah.
And it didn't come from the Mack, but they always play Freddy's Dead from Superfly. No matter what it is, they're going to play Freddy's Dead if a pimp appears on screen. So that's why I say those two movies, they kind of work in concert, because, a lot of, what the pimp imagery came from those two movies. But definitely 80% the Mack, 20% Superfly.
Absolutely. Macaroni Tony, absolutely. Let's see, I saw the Mack for the first time in 1998. I was 20 years old and have been a fan ever since. Absolutely. Let's see. I'm happy that I got the 2 seasons on DVD still. You talking about either Dave Chappelle or Martin? Dave Chappelle is gold. Yes, absolutely. That episode was golden. Yeah, I love the player haters ball. Like, don't get me started, y'all. Like, but yeah, I just wished a few more people were a bit more hip to the impact of the movie. But the real ones know. If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the camera, to me, is where the real story is. I'm really hoping that the Mack gets like kind of what Eddie Murphy did with Dolomite. It needs to happen. I didn't even know that all of this occurred behind the camera. You don't really pay any attention to when a film starts, especially when they say, in memory of, or, RIP or whatever, a little dedication, because they do that often. But this whole movie was about Frank Ward and just him. This is like an imitation of his life. This was written about him by, a former friend while he was in jail and all that other good stuff. But did you know anything about the history of the Mack in the film when you did your review, or just watching it?
No, I didn't know any of this. This is something that you actually taught me while I was watching your video. Like, I didn't know that the Black Panthers were so pressed about the movie. I didn't know it. And normally when I do like Black History Month, like I said, I don't do, I only do large scale research when I do a Black track. So if I'm just doing Black History Month, I don't go into all like this. But no, I didn't know any of this.
Man, it's so good. This needs a movie. I meant to leave the link on the channel, you guys, but there is a document. The Mack ain't nowhere, but the documentary of the Mack is available on YouTube. And I just also saw, because I was trying to look, I was like, well, who the hell is Frank Ward? Because I wanted to know. I only looked because the writer said, he based this off of this character and he had to get his permission. So I was like, oh, and that just kind of led me down the rabbit hole of this. But yeah, the Black Panthers were absolutely pressed, rightfully so. What you're not gonna do is, pull up and make this type of movie in our neighborhood and not, you need to at least pay to be here and make this kind of film. But I thought it was like really kind of a cautionary thing with how the real Frank Ward ended up, and just him being the pimp, being gunned down with his bottom beat, and in the backseat of the car midway in recording this film, and of course them having to move the locations, but just the relationship that Max Julien had with Huey P. Newton, him basing the character of Olinga, the brother character, off of him, and just the writer and the producer, as well as the director of this film, just the treatment that they had for the Black Panthers not wanting to listen, and them just making sure that they like literally tried to burn down their set, stealing their camera equipment, like all kind of stuff happened that would just, Huey P. Newton was busting down doors like, yeah, y'all gonna pay us to be in this neighborhood. And just I don't know. I'll ask you how you feel. I didn't really know how to feel about, because this is naturally a pimp. Of course, when they came to like get the rights, are you okay with us making this movie about your life? He was like, well, yeah, it has to be something in it for me. And he just kind of settled for having a background role in the movie. And I was like, nah, as a pimp, I need, some residuals. I need, a whole lot more than that. But just not even that. I know with you discussing blaxploitation films, like, how do you feel that every single, like damn near every single blaxploitation film, it has a white writer behind it, a white director, every white everything all behind the scenes. Like, none of this was from us. Like, how do you ever have a complex about? Because I know sometimes I go look up stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know a brother was, but I'm like, oh man. How do you feel about that?
I'm mixed with it. Like, on one hand, like blaxploitation kind of started with us by us, with Sweet Badass. Sweet Badass. He financed it, filmed it, starred in it, did everything himself. And there's a few like that, but I feel like in order to get past the budget barrier, and I mean, even that's not saying a lot because they definitely held blaxploitation movies down to once you started getting close to like 500,000, they were like, all right, now, slow
Yeah.
down. Like we need to cut something. We can't, so the budget, even though you was held to a budget ceiling, I feel
Yeah.
like for budgetary reasons, they kind of needed to work with like kind of like industry white people and
Yeah.
industry people to just to be able to get their vision out there. But you can say it was exploited. Like
Yeah.
the NAACP. The Black Panthers aren't alone. The NAACP actually coined that term blaxploitation. Because they felt like they were exploiting Black people, but at the same time, like people don't realize that these movies, in a way, literally saved Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood was low key struggling
Mm-hmm.
before they started making these movies, and it's kind of like give and take. Like a lot of these movies wouldn't have been made if we had to rely solely on Black dollars to make the movie.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, it's kind of a shame that white Hollywood did kind of use and exploit the themes to kind of build themselves back up, only to throw them away in the 80s.
Because Huey was mad.
Yeah.
Huey was pissed off. But not even that, like even the pimp here, he sublet a whole lot of stuff, like gave them permission and protection to walk in certain neighborhoods and districts. Like he was heavily involved in this film, like even instructing Goldie. Like it was a scene from the doc where Goldie was like, when he was crowned winner of the Players Ball, and he's like, yeah, and he's all excited. He's like cut, we don't do that. Like, you a pimp, you too cool to be doing that. You supposed to just stroll up there like the cool pimp you are. Like, so he had like a heavy hand in it, but just for him to kind of die mid-film like that. And of course there's a rumor that the Black Panthers did it, but we don't know that to be true. But I would love to see a movie absolutely surrounding all of these themes and the fact that we made this Black Panther situation and they had all of this hatred for the film, and they're like, oh no, we're doing whatever, and then they turn around and only release this movie in Black neighborhoods because they didn't feel like it would be successful anywhere else. And of course the film grew word of mouth, but according to them, nobody other than us were going to be checking for a movie like this, but they were absolutely wrong.
Yeah, and as a side note, that's kind of part of the reason why I love talking about these movies, because a lot of stuff like what you just said is lost to time because nobody puts any focus on these movies.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately a lot of these people die, and it's like they take the history of the films with you. So I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I do a Black track, I struggle to find a lot of anything, because nobody talked about it, nobody wrote about it. Half of the people aren't alive anymore. Nobody, there's no books, there's no website, there's nothing. So I gotta dig deep into the internet to find information.
Here with the character of Carol Speed. I didn't even know that this was the same woman from Abby. I didn't know. I was like, why she looks so familiar? Because I never really just put any attention on her. Yeah. But just getting, first of all the women in this movie was bad as hell. Like, shout out to, they y'all look good. Like, it's commemorated in time. Everybody look good as hell. But yeah, I'm keeping my damn money. Did this give you any insight? Because I know with movies like this, as well as Pimps Up, Hoes Down, whole Iceberg Slim situation, American Pimps, like I watch a lot of these things to like get insight. I just could never understand why any woman would want to hand her money over to a pimp. Like, do you have any answers for me? I just need to understand why. I don't want to hear nothing about no game being strong.
Hey, that was about to be my first answer. Hey.
I don't, because just the desperation.
When a man tell you he gonna be if he tell you gonna be everything to you, I mean,
we know like the bottom of scarcity, the unemployment, maybe daddy issues coming from unfit situation, trying to cling to maybe a father figure, protection, like all of that being said, like I was like, didn't know women, because I know there are female pimps, but I'm like, didn't nobody try to collectively come together so we can have our own hoes? Like something, like I ain't giving my money to nobody, but just the desperation that was coming off of Lulu, like it was laughable, but I was I just need somebody. I just like, oh my God, no, girl, relax. Like, pipe down. Like, hose her down real quick. But like, do you have any insight on the pimping game and why a random pedestrian in a suit can roll up with a cane and just have a lady on the corner prostituting herself. I could never.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a glorified protection racket. Guy rolls up in your store and say, "Hey, you pay me so much a month. You give me so much money, and I'll protect your store." I mean, it's a glorified protection racket. Like it. A guy shows up, kick game to you, and says, "Hey, you give me your money, and I'll keep you safe." That works for some people, I guess. I don't, I can't get into the psychological, behind, the daddy issues and all that. But I mean, to me, that's what it's always been like. It's a human protection racket.
Because you see the potential with a character like Lulu, because as she said, she was an outlaw. She didn't want to choose anybody. And I was like, if you could roll up and beg somebody who just got out of jail standing in this club with their prison numbers on to be your pimp, and you have enough wherewithal, if everything you know about the game, I have to teach it to you. Girl, you could have taught it to your damn self and got out there with your own hoes. But I'm just saying.
like how she was teaching the girls how to steal the clothing. You basically was the boss. Like, Goldie didn't teach nothing.
All of the bottom bitches be the bosses. Like, that's what I'll be understanding. Like, oh man, but just that whole thing.
If you don't have, if you got out of line, he sent you back to the planetarium. You get your mind back right. Space age pimping. That's all he did.
we go get into that damn planetarium. But yeah, I just always wanted, I need a breakdown of I need the hoes to speak, because every time I don't want to call y'all hoes, but let's just keep it all the way politically correct here. And I listen to interviews and try to listen to a voice of reason, and it's just like, yeah, I give him the money. Yeah, that's my daddy. Like what? Oh, just stop the madness, the absolute madness. But yeah, I just felt like Lulu low key had the potential to be her own damn pimp. If we're just because the bottom line is just protection. And I'm like, if you get a bandwagon of hoes, y'all can protect yourself. But that's just me.
and Carol, as a side note, Carol Speed is like low key the best actress in this movie, the best actor in this movie.
Yeah.
I saw her. She did a couple. Well, she did a bunch of Blaxploitation films.
Big
but
Bird
she did.
Cage.
She did one in particular, Black Samson, which is the most misleading title I think I've ever seen in my life, because that guy got his ass whipped the entire movie. But she played a character where she really went all in. And I mean, it sucks that a lot of these movies didn't get the kind of recognition or get seen by a wide audience, because she really went all in, went to crying and everything. And I was like, wow, this lady's acting her ass off. Like, everything I've seen her in, she's been fantastic. So I mean,
really, definitely.
She's the best actress in this movie. Even though she's been overshadowed by Goldie, like
And see, a woman in the game needs protection. Even female pimps have backup. If you're in the game, anyone would try to steal from you and hurt you and take your money. All right, Damien.
I like how you put on the voice for the game.
I just felt like this was, one of those situations where we needed to enhance that. Like, I absolutely understand, but yeah, I'd rather take my chances there than hand my money over to you. Like Goldie's breakdown, like it's a lifetime commitment. You get to come to the players' ball, the players' picnic, and yeah, that's about it. Like, yeah, I'm good.
Some people would call that benefits.
I'm absolutely good on that. Like, thank you, but absolutely no, thank you. Yeah. Keep that package, that stimulus package to yourself, Goldie. Getting into the things, because I know you had an opinion on the film about why it's really not all that great in a lot of avenues. Too long. Transitions, editing, Richard Pryor, character development, fucking punks. Punk motherfuckers in the planetarium. Like, there's a lot left to be desired here with this film, which is why it don't have it has GOAT status. Like, don't get me wrong, but like the thing that kind of took me out the most, even though a lot of I was like, man, how long we gonna stay at this players' picnic?
Boy,
how long we gonna let these whole stargaze from outside and look at this planetarium? But I know that with the budget and the editing, like when you watch the documentary, you just see how limited things were, and it's just a miracle that this movie was made at all. But the biggest disappointment for me was Richard Pryor.
Yes.
I was so surprised because I just didn't remember. You know, it's amazing when you watch things as an adult. Like he is clearly high out of his mind, and you know, not in a good way. Like I don't know if you I heard you say yes, so I'm assuming you felt the same way. But
Oh yeah.
Richard Pryor, I was like, this is one of the worst performances for Richard Pryor. Like you know, kudos to Max Julien because of course he co-signed for him like multiple times. He was about to get fired so many times, but there was no reason for Richard to be in this part.
No.
It was like you know the amazement. He's a magician to even get paid off of the little things that he offered here because it's just it's bad. How do you feel
There's a scene when they're in the bar and they're talking.
yeah.
And, you know, one thing I would say about Blaxploitation movies, to me the shoddy editing is charming to me. You know, I like it when, you know,
Really? This
stuff has
aspect ratio, we this close to every single conversation.
like when stuff is left in, bad editing is left in. It's charming to me because you know that hey, because of the budget, we can't go back and refilm this, we can't edit this out or whatever. But there's a scene where Richard Pryor is talking to, you know, Goldie in the bar.
Yeah.
And Goldie's just looking at him like
yeah,
okay, like Richard Pryor's going
on.
up. Yeah, he's like yeah, okay, yeah. And it's like, you know, in his head, he's like, man, I wish you really just shut the hell up. Like, well, we can't edit it out because and it's not like it's gonna be better the second time. So, you know,
they couldn't. There was no this movie. There was no second chance, no second shots. No, you know, oh, let's run it again. Whatever you got the first time was what they had to use.
Yeah. So I mean, he just go and talk about absolutely nothing that has nothing to do with the film.
Hawaii, I have all the pictures Goldie out. Yeah, motherfuckers, I ain't even know who Goldie was. Yeah, like
Richard.
But I mentioned it. I was like, how can you have Richard Pryor in the movie, arguably, you know, at the time the funniest man in the world, and have him be so unfunny? But when you know the history, you know, that that he's going through some things at the time, it makes sense. But it's like at the same time, it's like, damn, like I've never seen him be that unfunny. And I know they were like friends, but he literally could have been left out the movie, and it would have been the exact same.
Let's see, how are the women going to keep customers if they're fighting them so much? The presence of assertive energy sets boundaries to make folks think 2 times about acting up. Yeah, that's why Lulu got left out. Yeah, I don't give a damn about what happened to you. Just get yourself out there and get me my money. Like, I don't give a damn, girl. Like, the whole thing with just scenarios like that, like, where's the protection when I actually need it? Like, like, damn, I thought you were supposed to give me protection. I thought you was gonna be my main man in my corner. You know, I just need somebody, not just because I'm paying them, but just because I thought, like, where was the protection? Like, all of a sudden, that protection slid out the window. No, that just means you need to do due diligence. And like, as you see, like, I've seen that not just in the movies, but a lot of the pimps, it's just like, you know, well, that's your fault. Get your ass back out there and work a little harder and recoup what you just lost. What happened to the protection? I thought you were supposed to roll up. Oh no, we can't roll up because whoever did it was some local ass John who probably sped off and we're never going to see him again. But all right.
Hey, just like in movies in real life, because the protection racket ain't really about the protection. It's just about the ends.
Let's see. Pryor and Wilder were great as a tag team. Yeah, you know, that's later on, but this Richard here was Richard in the height of his drug use, and it shows. Like, I really do like the scene where he's, you know, mad at the cops, but people always commend him, like, you know, you punk motherfucking goat, I ain't running, I ain't no track star. Like, I'm like, yeah, he didn't know his lines. And it was like in the doc, Max Julien's like, you know, he was mentally kind of going on a trip thinking about, because, you know, Richard growing up in a whole house, you know, things like that. Like, he was just kind of reminiscing on a lot of things that he experienced in his childhood, and that emotion came from a real place. But it's like, yeah, we're not gonna act like, yeah, nigga, stick yourself. Like, yeah, we, you know, just gonna let everybody rock. But yeah, I do like the rough cut of the movie, like the transitions, like the repetitive sounds. Like, I must have laughed when they have the gambler in the trunk with the rats, and you hear that same like, how you don't scream the same way every single time.
Just gotta loop it. That's how you save money.
Yeah, is this anything in any way that you would have a desire to see remade?
Definitely, it's overdue for a remake, I think. Actually, just by how iconic it is, and they can fix, you know, a lot of issues I had with. You know, I had my big issue with it was the pacing. other than it being too long. I don't know how it managed to get by the prerequisite 90-minute blaxploitation, because no blaxploitation movie is over an hour and 30 minutes. So I don't know how they managed to get past that, but it's nearly 2 hours long. But if you cut out a lot of the community outreach, you cut out a lot of the Richard Pryor stuff, but and it starts out so strong. Like it starts out like it really can have a life altering story. And and I gotta commend Max Julien, like in the beginning of the movie when he's in solitary, he's in jail. He's doing a hell of a performance. And you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be a real a deep cut of a film where you're gonna see his highs and his lows, but then it just starts jumping from scene to scene to scene. It doesn't make no rhyme or reason. It's poorly edited, like a lot of movies were back then. And a remake would fix a lot of those pacing issues and bring to the forefront the struggle between his brother and him, his brother. That's really the story. That's the biggest story there. The story ain't really the pimping. The story is really like, hey, my brother is a Pan-African revolutionary. He doesn't like what I do. But I'm making this money. This is making my life better. At some point they're going to come to odds
and have a conflict. Never happens.
They never never really happens. He does some fighting words, but they don't really focus on it. They don't really build a movie around that. So I feel like a remake could rectify a lot of that, but I don't know if we ever get it.
No, we need because I'm not really all that gung ho on the remakes because we saw Superfly.
See, I've never actually seen that. I don't want to ruin.
Oh yeah. I didn't see that one.
I haven't actually seen that one yet.
But this is very, very iconic, and I just feel like it would just have a whole, probably my ass just giving breakdowns of and the one in the 73. This is why it was so much better. I'm gonna go there. But this movie could have benefited from more Pretty Tony.
Oh yeah, and I made a joke that Pretty Tony is I called him the Boba Fett of the Black of the Mack, because famously, in the Star Wars trilogy, not just the first movie, the entire Star Wars trilogy, the first three, he famously appears in the movie only 6 minutes across all three.
Yes,
but he became the most popular character out of the whole franchise, damn near. And Pretty Tony is the same. He appears 15 minutes in the entire movie. But everybody knows who Pretty Tony is.
Not even that. I don't know. Mentally, you just remember your favorite things about movies. But when you go back, you're like, damn, Pretty Tony really ain't here all that much. The fact that all of his, he was very RIP to this actor. I just call him Diamond's daddy. Diamond's daddy from the Players Cup. The Mosey Wozy. But he's I pretty much improv every single thing here. This is all because, it was just, he was pretty much supposed to be a background pimp. So he's it's just just kind of take this character and make it your own. I'm just going to go and spew some of the stuff I feel like some of my neighborhood pimps would say and how, the kind of vernacular that they would use. And this is just all him just pulling this character out. And it just became, I love Goldie. I love Goldie, but I just love the no nonsense of a Pretty Tony. Goldie was, even just really going back to watch it now, he didn't really want to be a pimp. This was just, a means to an end. These are the circumstances that I was dealt. Don't grow up and be like me and all that good stuff. Even when, get back out there and get me my money. Just that look that he has on his face, damn, I really ain't want to, talk to Lulu like that, but this is a part of the game. But Pretty Tony ain't give a damn. We keeping him broke, turned out, and beautiful. The girl asked me for a dime. I ain't giving you no money. I love when he called him, you old shady tree ass pimp. You ain't no real pimp, nigga. I'm a real pimp. Because he absolutely was. Absolutely. I ain't promising you nothing. I ain't giving you no money. You make sure you look good and, get out there and get the honey. That's all I need from you. Just an absolute low down, no nonsense, take no prisoner ass pimp. That I love that about him. And just what is your favorite line from Pretty Tony?
No, I can't remember it from word for word, but the one when he called the girl when he hey bitch or whatever when she was when she had chose Goldie.
Oh man, he was mad.
He's the most charismatic person. He's one of those actors who steal the show. He's the most every movie. Well, not every movie, but a lot of movies have that one person who steals the show. Who's the most charismatic person in the movie, and in this movie is Pretty Tony. Just like in Silence of the Lambs, it's Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter steals the show, even though he's in it only he's also in about 20, 25 minutes at most. Pretty Tony's is one of those guys who just, in a little bit of time he's there, he steals the show. He's the most charismatic person in the movie, outshining the main character even.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that a remake could rectify. But unfortunately, you can't have the same actor, so you'll run into the problem. You got to find somebody just as charismatic, as Dick Anthony Williams to play that role.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's gonna fall on the face. You can't ride off the name. You can't ride off the name alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the movie would have really benefited if we would have leaned into more of Pretty Tony's situation. Like, I feel like he would have been a really good antagonist. But this was the Get Whitey era, as I love to call it, or even just leaning more into Goldie's relationship with his brother. I feel like those were the true gems of the movie, and those are the especially the conversations that he has with his brother. I feel like those are the best transitional scenes, best dialogue, best really development to really have something happening in the scene. We should have focused more on them and maybe not focus as much on these characters right here. Because, man, when I tell you, I just did not remember the earnest of you vicious ass piece of jelly. Like, they were doing the most. Like, the desperation. It serves a purpose here, but I feel like it would have benefited us to not linger on them as much as we did, especially these two cops. Like, Fat Man, the desperation coming off of the Fat Man, he got annoying as hell. Like, at this point,
sickening person.
At this point, I feel like y'all just want to be on the roster and be one of the girls. Because why you jocking me so hard? Back the hell up! Like,
he was sickening as hell. Man. He was everywhere Goldie was too. Like, Goldie couldn't get nowhere. Like, damn, what the hell you doing at the Players Club? Like, he was everywhere. Like, he was sickening as hell. And that was an unnecessary story. Like, I get what they were trying to do, trying to show a guy trying to drag him back to the life that he was, that he used to have, but it wasn't really planned out. It wasn't written out well. Like you said, Pretty Tony would have made a far better antagonist than this guy.
One of these for Pretty Tony on whichever one. I don't know. I do like the dynamic with the cop a little bit more than just that envy that was coming off of them. And you truly want to, you want to be me in that whole thing. Like, it could have added some more layers. Like, I love how they had a little one-off scene of them just randomly shooting a black cop. Like, yeah, I got evidence, I got tapes. Pop out. Like, oh, that's we just shooting. Like, just the corruption, because that ties more into Olinga in the relationship with the brother and him, picking up the dealers off the street, trying to save them from them. Did we necessarily need, the vicious ass piece of jelly?
And I feel like, that one scene with him and the girl, like, I just felt like, I joke about blaxploitation films. You got to satisfy the titty quota. You got to.
I hate this scene so much.
At least one, or else can you really call it a blaxploitation film? If you don't.
I mean, we have satisfied the titty quota many a day in blaxploitation films, and none of the titties got touched. Like, how many times did we see Pam's titties? Like, glorious titties. We've seen them so often. The way he was groping her and her, it looks so unwarranted. I was like, is this safe? Like,
it's cringeworthy. You watching it yourself, like, damn, it's like he touching me. like it's because it goes on so long.
Yeah. And I was like, ugh. And he's like, I like elephants and just I was like, we get the point. He's supposed to be, you're coveting what you wouldn't probably be caught in daylight with this woman, but behind closed doors, you want to be me. You want our black women. You want this, that, and the third. But I'm like, we have to linger on the titties for so long, and because she's just like, oh, look, can we please? It wasn't like, get him off of me. This actor is like, get this damn scene over with because I'm uncomfortable. It just didn't look consensual at all.
Worst of all, it has no payoff.
No. It does in a way, because he's talking about, why he wants the elephant and why he prefers a full-figured woman and why he's not, more so not messing with the giraffe kind of women, the jealous women. And we find out that the giraffe is that walks in and gives him the envelope of money. It's Diane, and she's been working with him the whole time. So it has, the jealous, like, he over there, doting all over this bitch and I'm doing all the work. Like, why am I doing everything? Like, so there is a little payoff there, but it's just like, it looked like she wanted him to get the hell off of him. But I just wish that we maybe would have spent even though I love the dialogue, like those scenes with the the little henchman for Fat Man who's we could have had no, we need that.
No.
The little, heckle, we didn't need that. It was a lot of things to be, different here. But if we did get a remake, I wouldn't mind if we had a little less of these or just one or the other, and give me more cowbell, more Pretty Tony.
And that was one of those blaxploitation tricks where studios with their idea behind it is that, if we put in a classically trained white actor, or we put in a unknown white actor, we could get some more audience, we get some more eyes on the movie. And they would force it in where it really doesn't fit. And this is one of those movies where they forced it in where it doesn't fit, but they felt like they had to have at least one classically trained or veteran white actor, or else they won't be able to sell the movie to a wide audience.
Yeah, going back to watch this now, I was like, because this is especially learning about them Panthers and this wanting, to be like, to many, the glorification of pimping. I was like, no, this is like low-key a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
I can see if we ended off with Goldie pretty much getting everything he wanted and just being the happiest pimp at the ball. But we didn't really, get there. No matter how hard he tried, he just, couldn't get certain things out of his way. He brought, all the, the envy, the death, jealousy, distrust, all into his circle. Even loses his home mama. Like it was a whole lot. So I was like, I think this is more of a cautionary tale against pimping, and we're not really endorsing it. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, and black mamas ain't safe in blaxploitation movies. They always gonna die. But I always feel like, I felt like it is a cautionary tale of what pimping can bring you. And this is a early, I would say this is one of those blaxploitation films, even though it has its flaws. It provided like a good blueprint for a truly great pimp tale, which I think is, to me, the best pimp movie of the blaxploitation era is Willie Dynamite. But I think there would be no Willie Dynamite if it wasn't for the Mack, and I mean, Willie Dynamite took everything, having a whole bunch of women, everything that was good about the Mack, having a whole bunch of women, having a conglomerate of pimps, and and the talking, because can't remember his name, but the guy who played Willie Dynamite, he had the same exact voice as as the Mack, as Goldie. It used the same.
Didn't he go on to be on Sesame Street?
He did.
He's that man. Okay.
So he had the same exact voice, so he took a lot from it, but they also crafted a much stronger narrative, around pimping. So, because like, even though Willie Dynamite is about pimping, it's like, it's a fantastic story. It's a story with like, it's also a cautionary tale and a redemption story.
Yeah.
But I think the Mack, it was kind of like the blueprint for that. They didn't really know what to do. They know they didn't want to do something, they didn't want to do, you could tell they really went out of their way to not be stereotypical, even though it's about pimping. Like, he doesn't, I don't think at any point does he lay a hand on any other women.
No.
Whereas in other pimping movies, they gonna backhand him at least once, but he doesn't lay a hand on any of the women, and he doesn't really, I mean, he has that one line when he tells
that's why he was a safe haven for hoes.
Yeah. So, in other circles, he'd be considered a weak pimp, but like, I mean, you could tell they went out of their way to try to tell a good story, not just try to be exploitative, not just trying to be a generic pimp movie. I think they mostly succeeded. Like I said, I have my issues with it, but I still think it's as I said in my video, it's still a must see, just for how influential it is. Just to see everything that started with this movie. You can look, because of all the influences, you can look past all the flaws of the movie, all the negative aspects of it. So I think I think it's a good movie, and definitely a good starting place for pimp films.
Absolutely. Like, I just like every all of the little nuggets that you see in every single pimp film is here. The bottom B, the coveted snow bunny white girl that we got to get a part of the whole harem, all of that, or even just the desirability that is placed on her in the movie. And it's just like why is she the most coveted? We all about to lay on our backs and do the same thing, but we already know how that goes. Even Pretty Tony is cautionary. Like, look, Pretty Tony ain't do nothing, but he tried to roll up for 5 minutes and get some revenge. He tried, the phone check homie just one time, and of course, stick yourself and like, oh no, you gonna blow me up because you thought I killed your mother. Like, he didn't even do that. Like, oh man, I felt sorry for Pretty Tony.
Even his death was iconic. That was creative.
Yeah. Absolutely was, especially with the $250,000 budget here. But just Goldie, not in the end, getting everything that he wanted just because he was a pimp. It just kind of low key made everything in his life worse. So this is not the glorification that a lot of people at the time thought it was. Huey, it was cautionary, especially tying into what happened to the real Goldie, Frank Ward, midway through filming this movie. Like, somebody please make that behind the scenes, whatever. Make that movie happen for me, please. I would love to watch it.
Yes, yeah.
But getting into the end, how are we feeling about the movie's legacy? I feel like this movie will always be significant. I wish that there was a space where I don't know. Like, it shouldn't be hard for me to find this. Like, it was too many subs rolling up. Like, now, fortunately, y'all know I had this on the DVD. But I just feel like it shouldn't be like, why is this movie so hard to find? Even just getting into a lot of the movies that we discussed, like it's really hard to see them, and I just wish that, like you said, there's a whole artifact situation of just a collection, which we know that they don't have, just a collection of things and history, and it's a lot of backstory that comes along with these films that we don't know, like the fact that it saved the industry, but we don't even know how, and just what kind of precedent these movies set for all of the movies that were to come. But what do you think about just the legacy of the Mack?
I think it's there's like a top 5 of like the best influential blaxploitation films, and it's definitely up there in the top 5. Like it is really hard to find. Like, I love and hate Black History Month because a lot of the movies are easy to find, but some of the movies I have to pay an inordinate amount of money to track down online, and this was one of them. But yeah, I think, like I said, it's one of the top 5 most important blaxploitation films. Right up there with Sweet Sweetback, right up there with Shaft. The Mack is up there just for how if we're talking just influence. The Mack is up there. It's near the top. You know what I'm saying? So it's like somebody said in the comments, it's the blueprint.
The blueprint for hip hop. Absolutely. Like, everybody looked at this like, oh, everybody wanted to be Goldie. Everybody wanted to be a pimp. I just feel like Snoop Dogg was watching this, eating a bowl of cereal in front of his TV, and he just said, I'm gonna be this.
It's like the TV shows, the music videos, the samples. Like, I mean, just for that alone, like it's an enduring film that, like, you could tell it touched a lot of people from when they were kids in the 70s. And they've just never forgot it. And I mean, and that's what a lot of these movies, like, people don't realize. That's why I try to get them out there, because people don't realize how influential these movies are, how how many people these movies touched. You might not agree with the subject matter, but the truth is that this is the kind of life that a lot of people was living. This was their environment, their life. So this is what they can relate to. I just don't feel like they deserve to be shunned or buried to time, just because of the subject matter, because there's a lot more to movies like the Mack and other blaxploitation films. There's a lot more to them than just exploitation of Black people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have to go watch it when I was scrolling down your channel that you did, Together Brothers. I had a lot of these things, I haven't seen. Somebody recommends it, and then pay for it, and I go look at it. I'm like, oh, this is some presidential stuff happening. Like, why don't I know about this film, or even a movie that I'm gonna have coming up? I think it's called Darktown Struthers. We're gonna see we're gonna see what's going on with that. But yeah, I just hope that it's not forgotten, because I know I said in my video, if you ask me to name 3 pimps, I'm gonna say Bishop, Dunn, Magic Wand, Iceberg Slim, and Goldie. But for the next generation, they have no clue who these people are. Not that we want y'all to know who all the damn pimps and hoes are. That's not what I'm saying. But just certain presidents that just accolades needs to be given. These are the films that are buried like out of shame or something, and they just absolutely shouldn't be. Let's see. Goldie shattered the light-skinned brother stereotype.
Not the light-skinned brother.
But you have been absolutely awesome. Let me take this on off the screen. You guys, I have dropped his link in the channel. Yet again, I am going to give you the screen one more time to let people know where to find you, what you do, what you have coming up, and then we are going to get out of here.
All right. Once again, you guys go and subscribe to the Black Media Man Cave. Coming up is October's coming up, so I like to do horror movies. Which is there's a few black horror movies, not as many, but I like to try to do horror movies in October. So coming up, I have a often requested film, The People Under the Stairs, coming up in October, and also Death by Temptation, another highly requested film. And at some point this year, it required a lot of research, but I'm finally getting to the end of doing a top 10. I try to do a top 10 every year. So I'm finally getting to the end of doing a top 10 in living color. So if all that sounds good to you, head on over to the Black Media Man Cave, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you there.
Absolutely. I have reviewed both of those. People understand Death by Temptation is a bop. Let me know, when you drop that. As far as, you guys, what I have coming up, it is October, so I do want to do a few throwbacks. I do believe that I'm going to do Demon Knight, that stars Jada Pinkett Smith and Billy Zane. I just feel like in my spirit, I want to do Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 because it's just so much material there to work with.
Oh, wow, that's the first one.
Right? I want to do that one as well as get into I think Bram Stoker's Dracula, just to shake it up and get a little bit of horror out there. But you guys can definitely put your bid in for what we can talk about. I feel like because there isn't a whole lot of black horrors out there, so I'm like, well, dang, I kind of like already talked about everything. But if you guys know of some, any black horrors that I would prefer, throwbacks. I know there's a lot of, new stuff, but just throwbacks that maybe I haven't seen. I may have to, dip my toe in the Us Get Out pun just because it's October. But it's all right. We do what we got to do. But you guys be on the lookout for all of the content that I always have coming up. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and also check for my community tab because, YouTube, they don't like me like that, and they're not going to notify you guys of a goddamn thing. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I would definitely look forward to having Black Media Man Cave on, another time in the future. This has been awesome. He, has been a great guest. Not only hit that like button, but leave up out of here. Drop down and leave a comment down there because y'all just leave and just expect magic to happen. Magic don't happen like that. I got y'all, y'all got to leave those comments down there so some more people can come and engage with us and watch this video. But thank you guys so much for watching. We will definitely see you next time. Good night.
I'll holler at you.
Yes, absolutely.